How we doing, everybody? It's your guy Wardy here, and we're back at it this time with a Friday, May 16th edition of our Big Mets Update segment, and we have plenty to get into because, folks, it is a massive day in New York sports. Not only do we have a really exciting Subway Series between the Mets and the Yanks to kickstart there in the Bronx, Juan Soto is making his long-awaited, highly anticipated return there to Yankee Stadium, this time not as a friend but as a foe in a Mets uniform, and we're going to shed more light on the Juan Soto front as he spoke to the media this past day and talk about him returning to the Bronx, what it means for him, and ultimately his thoughts now from the Mets perspective especially. But this is also a massive day there for New York Knicks fans. So if you guys are bleeding orange and blue, not only for the Mets, but also on the basketball front, and of course, if you're a Nets fan or a fan of an opposing team, this doesn't apply to you, so just disregard. But it's a massive day for Knicks fans too, as it's Game 6 at MSG between themselves and the Celtics, trying to advance to the Eastern Conference Finals, trying to take down the reigning NBA champs. There's a lot on the line here, so I'm going to be locked in, trying to split both my eyes, split screen, watching both these games here later on this evening, like each and every one of you. So we got a lot to get into, not only on the Subway Series front, but Mets made themselves a key acquisition, an interesting acquisition for a Southpaw, that being a Mr. Jose Castillo. Why did David Stearns go out of his way to acquire another reliever option for this Mets bullpen? What are they gaining him? Was the upside? Was certainly the downside? Or what can we potentially see, if at all, at the major league level? That, along with the latest on the prospect end from Port St. Lucie all the way up to Syracuse, as well, we'll get into from the past 24 hours. So thank you guys, as always, for smashing that like and subscribe button as your first chime in, and let me know all your initial reactions in the comments down below to the following topics especially, and shout out once more to our amazing sponsors here at SeatGeek. If you guys don't know SeatGeek, you're going to know in just a quick second here, because they have you covered for all of your ticketing needs. Not only Mets tickets, concert show tickets, comedy show tickets, you name it, SeatGeek with over 70,000 active events to choose from, making them the #1 rated ticketing app in the game today for a reason. They have you covered, everybody. And not only can you utilize our amazing promo code that we have linked down below that I will emphasize in a second, but why I love SeatGeek so much and why I can't thank you guys again enough for utilizing our promo code so much the past couple months, that they are now our official season-long sponsor throughout the entire course of the 162. But I've been utilizing this app well before they became a sponsor here, and that's all thanks to what has really separated them from the rest, of my opinion, and the opinions of many, their grading scale system. It's from 1 to 10 and from red to green. What that means is if you purchase a ticket in the more 1 to 5 range and more of the red, it's not a good bang for your buck. You're wasting your money. You're better off elsewhere there still in the SeatGeek app. If you go more in the 7 to 10 range when looking for these price points on tickets and it's in the green, that is a great bang for your buck. You should probably hammer those tickets there in the app as well. So whether it's for Mets tickets, comedy show tickets, concert show tickets, NBA playoff tickets, you name it, SeatGeek has you covered. So what are you guys waiting for? Make sure to utilize our amazing promo code down below. Click it, WARDY10 on your next ticket purchase. You will get 10% off there for whatever you need on the ticketing space. And shout out once more to our awesome friends here at SeatGeek for being a great sponsor on the platform. Now, guys, let's get into this one, and let's start here with the new news. Who is the new guy in town? Why did David Stearns go out of his way to make this move? Because the Mets did, in fact, trade for cash considerations that we saw there with the Arizona Diamondbacks for veteran Southpaw and Jose Castillo. Now, when you look at Jose Castillo's baseline numbers so far this year, they are horrendous. So right away, I understand the immediate reaction from Mets fans saying, oh, great, another bum just to throw in there to see if it's going to stick on the wall. We're going to get something out of him. And while I see that perception 100%, I also know that David Stearns is a very smart and savvy Pobo. Arguably one of the best in all of the National League already. So the Mets are going out of their way to acquire a reliever who does not have any minor league options on his contract, mind you. They are doing it for a reason. And because the Mets made a roster move for him, they did in fact designate for assignment Kevin Herget, who in fact grew up not only as much a Mets fan, but more so a David Wright lover. So Kevin Herget, thank you so much for your service, buddy. He was here with a cup of coffee. We'll see if he stays in the organization or not there, or if he's picked up there now that he's been DFA'd. But we saw Castillo DFA not too long ago by the Diamondbacks, and that's why the Mets ultimately landed him in trade, so that way that the Diamondbacks got something in return versus losing him for nothing. The same way when the Mets traded Alexander Canario right before the season began, the same applies there, everybody. So what are the Mets getting at Mr. Castillo here? Why is he at all appealing? If there's anything that we could look at to say, okay, maybe this is going to work, well, as you guys can see, everybody, and let me pull this up right here for you all. Just give me 1 second so I can find it, because of course I thought I had it, and now they seem to absolutely disappear. When you want to have the one thing that works for you, when you have everything set up, it just doesn't work. Nope, that one isn't it either. Where are you? I know that you're not far. Come on. Let's do. There we go. That has to be it. Okay. Apologies, everybody. Jose Castillo. Jose, very similar names. And when I see Jorge especially, I'm thinking Jorge Soler right now. So I'm getting on a tangent, Wardy. Lock in. Jose Castillo, 29-year-old Southpaw. What are you getting in him on a 1 year, $760,000 contract? Well, as you guys see from down below, he's only pitched in 6 innings so far this year. He's been batting practice, no doubt about it, with that 11.370 ERA, but the expected ERA tells you that he's had not only bad luck, but just such a small sample size, so trying to put anything beyond a grain of salt into what he's done so far this season would be silly. But Castillo has not been at all a mainstay at the major league level. If we look actually throughout his numbers, he has been more of a mainstay in the minor leagues. Going back to not only this season where he has a 1.69 ERA and AAA there in 5 outings, but last season, 2024, in 24 games and 24 innings, had a 3.75 ERA. The year before that, in 36 games, we saw him have a 7.65, so not great. In 2022, he was at a 2.59 and 48 games to 48 innings. In 2019, because there was a big gap, I'd imagine due to injury and maybe COVID as well, we saw there in 2019 in 8 innings of 4.5 ERA. Before that, he was looking really, really strong as a quality lefty reliever option. And when we take a look at Castillo's numbers, he only had success in one single season because he's only been in the bigs for more than a cup of coffee just once in his career. And that goes all the way back to the 2018 season, everybody. As you guys see there, 38 innings, gorgeous 12 to roughly 3 K per 9 walk ratio there. It's gorgeous from what we see on the K per 9 to the walks per 9. An ERA of 3.29 with a 2.26 expected ERA. That's why when you look at the career numbers down below, they are not at all bad. So it tells you that clearly that there is something that the Mets may be able to tap into here. But this is a guy that has not done anything truly productive at the MLB level since the 2018 season. He is so long removed. This is in similarity to when the Mets signed Luis Severino a year ago, and Severino hadn't put up really a good season since 2018-2019 range when he was really breaking out. Thankfully, he did that for the Mets. That was great. So maybe we'll see if the Mets have at all any similar success or working with the lab and working with Castillo here firsthand. But they went out of their way to acquire him for a reason, and we can't forget that. So even if Buddy was not looking good and was looking like batting practice in the 6 innings that he pitched for the Diamondbacks so far this season, where they had to rush and call him up due to injury, they had plenty of things going wrong so far in their bullpen. Otherwise, they've been nails on the offensive end so far this season. The rotation started off rocky for them as well. But Castillo, what is there to know on the Arsenal? Well, as we can see, 2018, the numbers looked fantastic. I mean, there's nothing we can gripe about when we look at the numbers from the 2018 season. They are a thing of beauty. He's amongst the league's best here that we see for the San Diego Padres in multiple statistics here. And the 80th, 90th, 99th percentile in certain statistics from expected batting average to expected ERA. Fastball velo was rock solid for a southpaw option, but things have changed a lot in fastball velocity. You know, that's in the 77th percentile back in 2018. Not so much anymore, everybody, because as we see there, he utilized just a 2-pitch mix at the time, the 4-seam fastball that sat 95 and the slider right around 83. Now, what we saw this season is a 3-pitch mix, and it's a slider, sinker, 4-seam. 4-seam's down a bit in the velocity, which has him currently and like the bottom, you know, I want to say 40% or so in the league. On the 4-seam, it's only averaging 93, and a small sample size. The sinker's right around 93, and the slider's 84. Now, why do I like this pickup for the Mets aside the fact that you can never have enough arms? One, the Mets need more lefties. It goes without saying. With both A.J. Minter and Danny Young going down, that is what led them to sign Colin Poche after he was dropped by the Washington Nationals, because Poche has a really good track record, and he just needs to get his slider pretty much adjusted and right. And he's a guy that honestly might be one of the better lefty options for the Mets to consider out of their bullpen, even between himself and Jesus Cabrera. That's the upside we see. Castillo, we don't see as much immediate upside. So what are the Mets like? You obviously look at the sinker-slider combo right there. And why I have a level of confidence that the Mets can get something out of Castillo this season is not just because of the pitching lab and Jeremy Hefner, Desi Driscoll, Eric Yeagers, everyone in company, but it's more so in the fact of the Mets having a commonality of working well with these kind of arsenals and knowing that they just need to make some little tweak adjustments to potentially get the best out of pitchers that they haven't had in years. And I think a great example of that to a degree is Reed Garrett, right? Reed Garrett has really proven himself to be a mainstay in Major League Baseball, regardless of the walks. We know that when he's on, he's absolutely nasty. And this was a guy that was a predominant, MILB reliever in the minor leagues for the vast majority of his career. Danel Nunez, same applies. Again, so I have faith in David Stearns' ability to find talent, especially in the bargain bin, as that's something that he had to do every year there as the Milwaukee Brewers GM and president. So it's not about as much bargain bin shopping as it is the Mets are looking for more depth. You can never have enough. They have the best overall pitching staff in baseball right now. So before any of you guys go out your way to judge David Stearns on this, remember, you've been wrong 9.5 out of 10 times. Unless you had Clay Holmes looking this good, unless you had Griffin Canning looking this good, unless you had everybody and their mother in this rotation for the most part holding their own without Shamanai and Frankie Montas heading into the season, which I'm going to bet you didn't, then again, keep yourself out of it, because David Stearns is proving yet again why he is here for a reason, his great player development point of view, and trying to make proper adjustments to get the best out of players, and also to have guys that are goal-driven. As David Stearns said it with the media this past day, it's not just about the coaches, as fantastic as they are. It matters just as much for these players themselves to be buying into what we're trying to not only showcase philosophy-wise, but to make proper adjustments, and for them to want to be the main drivers behind it as well, to want to better their careers and change things up a bit about their arsenals and to maximize their ultimate pitching output. So in regards to Jose Castillo, let me know, guys, in the comments down below. What's your thoughts about him? What do you like about him at his towering 6'6", 250-foot frame? So clearly, there's potential here, and the ground ball rate especially has potential outside of what has otherwise been abysmal from the little sample size so far this season, everybody. But I look at that big frame. I look at the ability to really tap in as a crafty southpaw option for this Mets team. All I'm telling you is don't be shocked if Jose Castillo makes a fairly immediate impact to the Mets bullpen when they call upon him, and then we're saying, hey, that's why you don't initially buy in to just a small 6-inning sample size with one team, because one man's trash can always certainly be another man's treasure, especially when they have things one up or two on the analytical front, on the pitching lab front, the way the Mets certainly do. And that K per 9 at roughly 12 K per 9 at 11.19, I should say, and a walk per 9 at 3.66 tells you that there is potential. Let's just see if he can get back to where he once was, going back to already the 2018 season, last time the guy had all sample size that was worthy to have a discussion about. But going on now, everybody, from talking about Jose Castillo, let's now go on to talking about this Subway Series matchup. And one thing that I do not want you guys to lose sight on when we talk about this Subway Series matchup is what we have planned for each and every one of you, in case you guys do not know the drill already. So let me get rid of this real quick, and then let me put you on to exactly what I'm breaking down here right now, everybody. And let's go up here. Let's go right down here. There we go. Bang, bang, boom. Love to see it. Take that away. And now let's show you guys this. In case you guys didn't watch yesterday's video, listen up, because we have very exciting news. Tonight, everybody, 6:40 to 6:45 p.m. Eastern, around that time, myself and my good friend that many of you guys know on the platform, and a lot of you guys love him, and a lot of you guys absolutely hate him because he is as stereotypical as a Yankee fan as they get. That is Patrick Hennessy, aka Unhinged Patrick. Pat and I will actually be together there, live, doing a recording in a living room, and we're going to have an absolute blast doing it, live reacting and sharing play-by-play throughout the entire ball game between Game 1 between the Mets and the Yankees there. First time we're ever doing a live show together in person like this, and we're going to be live not only on YouTube, simulcasted with a scoreboard showing as we share our reactions, play-by-play, and interacting with you guys in live chat, but we're also going to be live on Playback app that we have been doing every single week on the platform throughout the course of the season. And in case you guys don't know Playback, let me remind you guys just once more here, because Playback is a revolutionary sports app that has been absolutely massive, and we are partnered with them throughout the MLB season. What that means is, everybody, if you click the link down below here in the description of the video, head over to playback.tv/WardyNYM, become a member. It's free to join, and all you need to do is to make an account in Playback and have a MLB TV subscription. If you have an MLB TV subscription, you will be able to actually watch the Mets game live in real time with your guys Wardy and Pat throughout the entire time of the ball game. And yes, Pat and I are going to be absolutely relentless with each other. If the Yankees perform well, he's going to be an absolute menace on me. If the Mets perform well, I'm going to be an absolute I don't even know how I'm going to be acting, but it's going to be pretty unhinged, and we're going to have a lot of fun with it as really being diehard Mets and Yankees fans in this one. And you guys can just scroll down below, and you will see, again, the Subway Series watch party right here. And again, it will be live on both YouTube and in the playback app, but if you're watching the playback app, you'll actually be able to watch the Mets game with us and listen to GKR should you wish, versus just looking at the scoreboard and hanging out with the live chat there on YouTube. Whatever you guys' preferences is what it'll be, but again, 6:40 p.m. Eastern. Be on the lookout, everybody. Cannot wait for that. And final thing on the Subway Series front, before we get into breaking down Juan Soto's remarks here, everybody, is the fact that I will also, for those that are unaware, I am going to be, in fact, yes, in Bleacher Report Studios at the time you guys probably watching this video there, and around 2 or 2:30 p.m. Eastern, I will be live in Bleacher Report Studios in Manhattan, breaking down a true Subway Series preview further between the Mets and the Yankees. So head over to the Bleacher Report app should you guys have interest there. Like I said, between 2 and 2:30 is when I'll be live around those times there in their actual studios. So can't wait to make it happen. Be on the lookout for it, and thank you guys so much for doing exactly that. Now, let's get into the Juan Soto stuff here, everybody. There is the one and only in Juan Soto, and Juan spoke to John Heyman in the New York Post this past day. Let's get into what he had to say on the front of returning to Yankee Stadium in the Bronx for the first time now as a foe and no longer a friend. He stated the following, and I quote, "It's going to be 50,000 against one. They're going to try to get me one, and you know, it's part of the game. Now, one, thankfully, it won't be 50,000 Yankees fans. There's going to be thousands of Mets fans there too. So while Yankees fans I'd expect to dominate, because this is going to be in part their World Series, seeing their ex return to the Bronx, and they're going to want to heckle him, say vile things to him, I'm sure, throw things at him, and I'm not wishing that and saying that to insinuate that. I just know that that's inevitably going to happen. Juan Soto knows that, and he's mentally prepared for everything here. But not only did Soto say that, he's going to just focus on, his game and lock in and do what he needs to do. He knows that the outside noise is going to be the outside noise. He's also welcoming to the idea of being the villain. He spoke on the prospect of now coming into town as a New York Met and saying that he's, embodying it. And I have to say this, and I'm not going to say any names, even though they know who they are. I absolutely hate the fact that the media went out of their way to be an absolute schmuck and decide to ask Juan Soto if he has any second thoughts, basically regrets about signing with the New York Mets. Of course, trying to get some type of word piece out of him here to make a big headline heading into the Subway Series. Thankfully, Juan didn't give them anything, rightfully so. F them. I can't stand this nonsense. It's the same shit that we saw a couple weeks ago when they completely took out of context what he said about having Aaron Judge bat behind him versus Alonso. It was never supposed to be a slight, yet of course the media portrayed it as such, and we had to break it down because of that reason. I digress. The point is, everybody, is that his reply was, no, I made my decision. I'm happy with it. And he's obviously happy to be with the New York Mets, because he went on to say the following quote here: "We have an unbelievable team, and it's going to be a good one for a long time." Now, he also talked about the fact that this matchup, returning Yankee Stadium, he expects a mix of reactions from fans. He knows that there are fans that hate him, love him, that really are conflicted, that are upset about him, and all these kind of things. But he's really looking forward to the matchup in general, and every Mets fan should be as well. Now, something that I found rather interesting was that not only did Juan Soto talk about how he rekindled things with Aaron Judge, basically in the beginning of the season, because let's not forget, Juan Soto changed his phones in the offseason and didn't contact Judge or anyone, even though Brandon Nimmo and other players kind of reached out to him right before he ultimately signed with the team. I found that fascinating. Judge and Soto have always had a good relationship. There's never been an ill will there. It was reiterated by Juan Soto that everything's good there. And this is going to be a huge battle of two of the best in New York baseball. Aaron Judge is batting .400 right now, and at a WRC plus of basically 150% above league average. He is in a class of his own. He is a human highlight reel. He's a video game. I don't know how he does it. He is just jaw-dropping. Juan Soto has been putting up numbers that are exciting, but they're not even as good as Trent Grisham right now for the New York Yankees, for context. That is one very impressive for Trent Grisham that we actually did a video about a couple days ago on the WardyMLB YouTube channel to over 1,000 subscribers, where I cover MLB-wide topics. So please make sure to check that out, guys, should you have interest. It should be linked down below in the description, but if not, I will add it there not long after this video probably drops. So WardyMLB, check it out. But Trent Grisham has 12 home runs already this season. Juan Soto only has 8 or so. So Can this be a big series for Juan Soto to go out and potentially dominate a Yankee Stadium? Absolutely. There's no doubt in my mind that this is going to be a huge series where we see Juan Soto not completely buckle. I'll be honest, even with Soto's fairly underwhelming play for what we expect out of him so far this season, he's still been good, and I expect Soto to get pitches to hit. I think he's going to get pitches to hit and absolutely decimate at least one there to hopefully the bleacher creatures in right field. If it doesn't happen, that's fine, but this feels like a series that if it isn't going to be any series when we look at in-season hype, this has to be the one, right? You're coming in to be the true villain. Everyone's going to be against you, and Soto feeds off of that. He has said famously in the past, especially in playoffs, that he feeds off of the boos. They motivate him to make him a better player than what he was the day prior. That is all the makings for this to be a human highlight reel of a series between Juan Soto, Aaron Judge, Francisco Lindor, Pete Alonso, Paul Goldschmidt, who's been tearing the cover off the ball so far this year, Cody Bellinger to a degree, Jason Dominguez, Trent Grisham to a great degree because he's been acting like a man possessed right now. Everyone in the depth of that lineup along with the Mets. The Yankees have the number 1 ranked offense in baseball right now per Fangraphs' wins above replacement. The Mets are top 6 in baseball right now, which is awesome to see. Pitching wise, the Mets are number 1 in baseball and the New York Yankees are not even top 10. The Mets need to pounce and they need to take advantage of what has carried them so far this year, which has been their pitching, but should it get exposed where the long ball is oh so apparent in Yankee Stadium, something that has not been apparent to the Mets, who have had the best home run per 9 rate out of any team in Major League Baseball this season for the most part. That may change in this series, but if it does change, if guys like Tyler McGill in Game 1 against Carlos Rodon, Griffin Canning against Clark Schmidt, Game 2, or David Pearson against Max Fried, Game 3. If any of those Mets starters become batting practice, you need not only your bullpen to pick you up, but we need the boys to hit with runners in scoring position. You need Juan Soto to go out there and battle. You need Francisco Lindor to go out and thrive like he has with a not 1, not 2, but 3 home runs. Like to get 3 big booms. If you know, you know. And yes, that was cringy. I apologize. I digress. The point is that this is going to be a battle. Lindor thrives against this Yankee team, just like he did back in his time in Cleveland. Pete Alonso's had a flair for the dramatic in certain games against the Yankees in the past. The depth of this line, Brandon Nimmo falls in that category too. What can Luis Angel Acuna provide? What can Brett Beatty provide? Should he get at least 1, if not multiple starts here? We'll see. 2 lefty starters in 3 days. I would like Beatty being in the line for one of them, but not the end of the world if he isn't. Mark Vientos, how does he do against these lefties, especially Max Fried, who's been like unhittable so far this year? You got to look at the boys to step up with runners in scoring position in order to have success. So that's naturally what I'm hoping to see as a Mets fan. But Mets fans, I want to hear from you guys. What are your predictions for the Subway Series? Let's hear it in the comments down below. And I also definitely want to hear, who do you guys think is going to be the key offensive standout from the Yankees as well as the Mets? Obviously, the easy picks are Judge and one of Juan Soto, Francisco Lindor, Pete Alonso, but who knows? Maybe it's a big Tyrone Taylor series or Jeff McNeil series for all we know. Again, the Mets' depth of their lineup is as good as any in Major League Baseball. Let's see if they can blossom here and shut down a Yankees team that's top of their division, but just because they're top of the division doesn't necessarily mean that they're top dog there in New York baseball. Now, going on from the New York Yankees in that Subway Series, because that's all I'm going to be talking about all Friday along there in the Bleacher Report app and live on YouTube for a watch party and a post game. It's going to be such a long night, but I'm hoping it's a fun one at minimum. Please, at least one of my orange and blue teams win if it's not going to be both of them this Friday. But guys, let's now wrap up the show by getting into the latest prospect report, because we had a massive pitching matchup, and we're going to start top down. We're going to start from the top dog in the minor league teams and the Syracuse Mets, and they had the biggest pitching matchup by far, and that was Mr. Andrew Painter, who's making his second start there for the Philadelphia Phillies AAA affiliate for the Iron Pigs. Painter is one of, if not the best pitching prospect in baseball right now, and his 2.25 ERA after giving up 2 earned runs in 5 innings against the Syracuse Mets. But Noah McLean was greeted rather rudely at his second career start in Syracuse after going 7 shutty, 7 strikeouts, 78 pitches in his debut in Syracuse. McLean has a smack of reality. 6 walks, 4 strikeouts, 4 earned runs, 5 hits, 3 flat ERAs so far throughout his first 2 starts. Not the end of the world, wasn't locating his best, obviously, but you have to realize that this is also the best offensive AAA team in all of the minor league baseball right now at 30-12 on the record for the Iron Pigs. They are no joke right now. They are tearing the cover off the baseball, and they're having a lot of their top prospects and fringe MLB players step up right now for them. So not to make endless excuses for McLean, but just saying that These things are going to happen the same way that Brandon Sproat just got rocked the day prior. McLean, naturally, it's going to happen too. Let's just see how he bounces back from this adversity if he can find himself getting in a groove. Austin Warren went 2 shutty on the relief front. He has a sub-3 ERA. Tyler Zuber went 1 shutty, but he has just under a 7 ERA. De La Cruz went 1 inning and did allow 3 earned runs. That is notable because I love my guy Felipe De La Cruz there, and since being called up to Syracuse, he went 6 innings of no earned run ball with 9 strikeouts. Then he went 1.1 shutty or so as a reliever. Then he gave up an earned run or so his last outing. Now he just gave up another 3 earned runs there at a reliever role. Again, tough lineup to face there, but I'm curious to see how he's utilized going forward and if he's having any struggles adjusting to that reliever type mentality that he otherwise wasn't having as a starter and bulk reliever previously this season for the Binghamton Rumble Ponies. Offensively, they lost this game 7-3, and the notables were Joey Meneses hitting his 2nd home run of the week and his 2nd of the season, Hayden Sanger ripping his 1st double of the year, and Drew Gilbert keeping his on-base streak going, I believe now at 21 games, by ripping a single at 103 plus miles per hour. He's now up to a 244 average and 756 OPS, commanding center field and batting 2nd. Now let's get on to the Rumble Ponies, everybody, and they won their ball game. 5-3 was the final on this one, and the notables here, pitching-wise, Pintaro went 4.2 shutty. We saw Shook go 2 shutty with a sub-3 ERA, which was nice. Offensively, we saw Nick Morabito rip his 8th double of the season. Jet Williams batting leadoff and at short ripped his 9th double of the year. And Ronnie Mauricio, everybody, had himself a double, his 2nd extra base hit in his rehab stint thus far. Mauricio, love to see that, 1 for 4 with an RBI. Jet Williams with an RBI and a walk, 282 average, 873 OPS batting leadoff. We saw Nick Morabito, who's now at 225 average, 657 OPS. Ryan Clifford went 0 Schwartz at first base went 2 for 3, 250 average, 904 OPS. Lugo, 263 average, 651 OPS. Not really much else there to make note of on the offensive end, and same thing with the pitching. Let's get to the Brooklyn Cyclones, 2nd to last year on the minor league list, as they won their latest ball game against the Dash by a final score of 4-3. And of the notables were Mercado ripping his 4th double of the year, and Eli Serrano, who has had a tremendous week of baseball for the Brooklyn Cyclones, being their player of the week, as a matter of fact. 10th double of the season for Serrano, batting leadoff 2 for 5 in right field with 2 RBIs, now batting 265 with an 892 OPS. Won't be long before he's with the Rumble Ponies. Same goes for Carson Benj, a 2 for 5 game for the former 1st-round pick in center field, 302 average, 867 OPS. Jacob Reimer, 1 for 5 with a run scored, 328 average, over 1,000 OPS. Marco Vargas, 0 in this one. Jesus Baez, 1 for 2. We saw Mercado, 2 for 3, 339 average, 936 OPS, and De Los Santos at second base, 1 for 4, not even batting the Mendoza line. On the pitching end, Dome went 3 innings of 3 earned run ball, 90 ERA so far there. Ramon Gomez, who has been unbelievably dominant, just moved up this past week, plus there from the Port St. Lucie Mets, hit 104.5 on the gun, one of, if not the hardest thrower in all the minor leagues. He won 1.1 shutty and has yet to allow an earned run since being called up there to the Cyclones. Love to see that. Now, folks, let's get on to last but not least, the Port St. Lucie Mets. Where in their matchup, they did in fact win 6-4 here, and we see on the notables, a double was from Perozzo, his 2nd of the season, and outside that, not too much on the notables offensively. Colin Houck went 0 in this one. Davison Gutierrez had a nice game. He's still batting below the Mendoza line, 2 for 3 with 2 runs scored. Perozzo, however, at catcher, 308 average, 890 OPS, so that's encouraging. And Willie Fanas, 1 for 4 with an RBI, but he isn't hitting a lick yet so far this year. Aracena won 4 innings of no earned run, 1 hit ball, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. Ortega, who is in rehab right now, has major league experience. He'll ramp his way back up to AAA Syracuse. He has yet to allow an earned run, but did allow 2 unearned runs in this outing today, and that does it there for the minor league report. So, guys and gals, thank you all so much for watching. Please let me know again your key takeaways in the comments down below to all the following topics from the Subway Series. Juan Soto's latest remarks there with the New York Post and talking about the Subway Series matchup, the Mets landing another Southpaw, this time via trade, and what your guys' expectations are for said Subway Series. Again, we'll be alive later on today for a watch party and post-game coverage. I'll see you all then. Until then, have a fantastic night, day, evening, whenever you're watching this, folks, and let's go Mets, baby. Peace out.